Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co host, Julietta, also known as the Magical PT, and I am here in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I have a private PT practice that it's very holistic, alternative, not what you would expect, hence why they call me the Magical PT. I have fun doing magic every day. And I'm also a podcast host here with my friend Allison and have so much fun here meeting so many amazing women and sharing our stories that I know support other women out there in getting through this thing called life. I think that's like a line from a song.
I think it is.
Is it a Prince song? I don't know why I feel like it is.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Yeah. And then I'm an artist. I do stuff with crystals and I paint and I'm a traveler. I'm like really feeling the travel bug. Even though I just like took a really big trip, it's just making me want to travel again. So that's what I'm working on. Where am I going next? How about you?
My name is Allison Mancini, and I am a human resources director for a company called The Gold Digger Girl, where we help women show up authentically on social media. I'm also a functional nutritionist, and my passion is just helping women to be the best that they can be with their health, for their families. Because the reality is if we don't feel good, and we're not really healthy, it's very difficult for us to do all the fabulous things that we do as women. So I am also a mom of two adults, a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. I've been married for 28 years now, also in South Florida, but originally from Michigan, originally a Midwest girl like my co-host, Julietta, is from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, eh?
Wisconsin, eh? And I ran into somebody from Canada the other day, and he actually said "a," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can tell you're from Canada." He's like, "Why?" I go, "Because you just use "a" in a sentence naturally." He's like, "Oh yeah." And I'm just happy to be here. That we're here, and here we are. And you need to tell us about our sponsor.
So, our sponsor this month is Lyrios Massage and Beyond. Welcome to Intuitive Healing. Whether you are looking to recharge and replenish, there we go, or just come in for a tune up and a little work, Lyrios Massage and Beyond aims to support your body using various methods and modalities of massage, skincare, energy healing, and more. Their unique intuitive fusion of East and West provides both structural and energetic realignment. From sports massage and deep tissue to cupping and hot stones, they work with your unique situation to provide healing and relief. Visit their calming oasis right here in Paradise being Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I feel like after today, we both need massage.
I was just going to say, like, I'm looking forward to my massage in about a week because it's been a day. So let's talk a little bit about that whole idea of stress because, the reality is we all have stress, good and bad. It's every day, right? You can't run away from it. But it is also a researched fact that stress is like the underlying reason for premature death because it leads to all these other issues. So how do we manage stress? Like that's what we've got to talk about. And I feel like that's kind of been our running theme with our interviews lately is we've been talking about, we talked about your malas and meditation and, we've talked about, I don't know, I guess meditation, like what?
Taking a bath.
Taking a bath. Like you got to do those stress management techniques, right? So, and for me today, that's what it was. So my morning has been a little stressful prior to our interviews and it kind of really threw me into a funk. And some of the things that we've talked about with some of our guests was just, being in the moment and taking a moment to give yourself that kind of internal hug and love on yourself and talk to yourself like you would if you talk to your friend or your spouse when you're not mad at them and, just right. Or your partner. But it just is interesting to me because I know that you don't ever get rid of, like people are always saying, how can I be less stressed? Well, it's not about having less stress. It's about learning to manage the stress that you have. It's about learning to incorporate those things into your life that help your body to calm down. So whether it's deep breaths, and honestly, you could do what's it called? Box breathing, where you do the, what's it? 5, 5, 5. Hey, yeah. 4, 4, yeah, 5, 4, 4, whatever. Yeah. You can do the box breathing for a couple minutes.
However many numbers you want.
Yeah, right. However many numbers you want. You can do the box breathing. You
One,
can
one,
do,
one, one.
Yeah. That's not so good. That's not long enough. Yeah, I know. You can do meditation. You can go for a walk outside. Like, just take a break, get up from your desk and get outside. Hug a tree. Go smell a flower. I mean, have flowers. Buy yourself flowers. Flowers are like so good for you, especially during the winter months. You can still get flowers at the store. Buy yourself a bouquet of flowers. Have fresh flowers. Smell them. Look at them. The beauty of them. Do essential oils, right? Juliet and I both love our essential oils. Man, get your essential oils going, your diffuser. I mean, there's all kinds of things. What else would you recommend for stress?
Lavender is a great stress reliever.
Lay on Julieta's bed at her office.
Right?
Get a crystal healing bed. Do red light therapy. All kinds of good stuff.
There are, and that's the thing, is that there are so many tools out there, and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for every person. So you need to find what works for you. But I think also just one of the biggest things is that, you know, that this is just now, this isn't going to last forever, and you're going to get through it, and it's going to be fine. And some of the, we talked about this a little bit with Jess, but sometimes you think like the worst thing that's happened, it's just like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me. And it happens, and you step back and you take a moment, and all of a sudden you realize, wait, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. So we sit here and stress over these things that we think are just the worst, when in fact, you may find out that it's actually like the best thing that could have ever happened to you. So, release your judgment on the things that are happening around you, because it's just a moment.
That makes me think of, and you and I have talked about this before, and I'm not in any stretch of the imagination belittling the situation at all, because I know it's been very difficult for a lot of people. But for me, going into the pandemic, as difficult as it was and scary, and I lost a friend to it, and we both know many people that have, either they know someone who's passed, or friend or family, and I know you have some acquaintances that did. But the reality is going into the pandemic was ultimately one of the best things that happened to me in my life over the long run, because so many amazing things have come out of it. And I know that if we hadn't have been in that place, these things would not have happened. It just wouldn't have been set. Nothing would have been set up right for things to happen the way. Right. And it just wouldn't, things wouldn't have been set up in the right way to be how they are now. Like, had we not been in that position. And yeah, this podcast would have never happened, because you and I would have had no reason to think we needed to do this. I mean, maybe eventually, but I don't think so.
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyways, so that's enough. So just, find the stress management technique that's best for you. It is really important for your overall well-being. It's important for your health. You just need to find something you can do that helps you to manage your stress. And enough said with that.
Let's bring our guest on.
Let's do it. Hello.
Hi guys. Good afternoon, or good morning, or good day, wherever
they're at.
Whatever time it is for them. Yeah.
Yeah. We have people all over the world, so you never know. It could be tomorrow. I don't know.
So good day to all.
There you go.
Good day. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And would you please introduce yourself to our audience? They'd love to know who you are and what you do.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this all day, by the way. I woke up and was like, ready. So my name is Nathalie Delaine. I am a mindfulness life coach, and it's crazy because a lot of what Allison was just talking to were a lot of things that I help people with. No surprise there. So I love helping people realize that everything starts with awareness, right? Once we become aware of a feeling, a thought, a sensation, anything, we then have choice. And when we are aware of the choices we have, we can choose differently. We can shift out of a bad mood. We can choose a better thing out of the refrigerator, right? Like choice allows us to live our better lives. And for me, especially in growing up, I didn't realize I had that choice. And I know a lot of people feel stuck and don't realize that they have it. It's all right here. We just need to tap in. And so I love helping people just become aware of themselves, of what they truly want, of gaining that clarity on what they truly want, and then helping them with mindfulness techniques, which literally you mentioned almost all of them, Allison. It's cute, right? Meditation, journaling, walking in nature, being in nature, and the list goes on and on. And so depending on the person and what it is that they're specifically working on, I help them. One of the biggest things I love to do too is I give all my clients what I call soul work. So it's like homework, right? When we were in school, we had homework, but this is soul work, and it's tied to exactly what we talked about that session. It's a little bit personalized for them because I want people to realize that they're all special. They all get to be seen and heard. And I love doing it.
Awesome.
We can tell you love doing it. It just comes out when you're talking about
Oh,
it.
I get so excited. I can't even help it. People tell me that all the time. They're like, do you do this all day, every day? I was like, I wish one day. So,
Awesome. Well, we have questions for you, Nathalie.
yeah.
And the first one is what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why?
Ooh, so it's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And it sounds like a children's book because it kind of is a children's book, but the amount of juicy nuggets and knowledge in this book goes, it's for everyone. And the graphics, the illustrations, but the messages. And when I say juicy nuggets, I mean one page will have maybe 5 words, another page will have 20. It's simple, it's easy, but it's all the things I wish someone would tell me when I'm not feeling well, right? So when you're having a low day, or when you're feeling lonely, or when you're feeling sad, and it's all those little things that we forget. And it's just beautifully written with these beautiful illustrations, and I have it on my nightstand all the time. I've now given it to all the children in my life and like my friends, my family. It's short, right? You can read it all in one day, or you can read 3 pages and close it and just like feel good. It's a feel good book, and it reminds us that we're not alone and there is help. And I love that, right? Like that's why I'm here. That's why I'm a coach. I want to help, and this little book does a lot of that.
That's awesome. And it is amazing how, the most profound special messages, they can be short and sweet,
Yeah.
but you have to be present to receive the message.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes we're just in such a hurry that they escape us. So
And exactly to that point, they're not like new mathematical things or things we've never heard before. We all know some of these things, right? It's just we forget. We get so busy, we get so stressed, we get bogged down with the heavy things that are happening in the world, and we forget those simple little things that add a little spark in that heart of ours, right? And so this book is magic. If you haven't gotten it, grab a copy. It's cheap, it's on Amazon, but it will change your life. It's that good. I promise.
awesome.
Nice.
All right. Our second question is, what is your top self-care practice and how does it support
Ooh.
you?
Yes. So one of my number ones is I go offline, like capital letters offline. There's so much connection, there's so much noise and energy in the world, and it's so much more accessible to us nowadays. And really taking that time to disconnect everything, my phone, my TV, my doorbell, like all of it. It sounds silly, right? But now everything's like with an app. So disconnecting all, because then I can allow myself to focus on me. Like, what do I really need today? What does little Nat need today? What does adult Nat need today? What do I want to dress like today? What do I want to feel like today? And then maybe not the whole day, right? Like I usually do this in the evenings, and I do it almost every day. And a lot of my friends and my family know, like past 9:15, I don't answer the phone anymore. Like it's just quiet time. So when it comes to taking care of me, going offline allows that, because it's like a little silo. and I get to truly listen to my heart, and our heart has all the answers. So that's one of the biggest things that I recommend for people, especially when you're stressed.
I say I need to do that. I'm like, I need to do that. I know, I know a few women who have set times where they're, once it hits this time, they're out, they don't check anything, and people just know it. They've trained people, they are aware of it, and they just do it. I need to do that.
It takes time, right? But it's
yeah.
like everything that good, it takes a little effort, a little time, a little practice, and then it's delicious. I'll tell you that. Some days I'm like, can I have this all day? But I recommend that you try it. Let me know how it goes.
I will. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. So our next question for you. Am I breaking up?
You froze a little bit.
It was for a hot minute, but you're back.
Okay, I'm back now. All right. So our next question for you is, when you're having one of those days when it's just difficult to show up or you're struggling for whatever reason, what do you pull out of your back pocket? What tools do you use to help you just get on with your day and what you have to get done?
I love this question. And do you mean every day for the past 2 years? Or
Listen.
Just kidding.
Sometimes it happens more than it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it does. So I've always been very imaginative, and I always say, like, I have a TV in my head, and it's kind of like a screen. And one of the biggest things that I do is when I'm having one of those days is I put the words up, let it go, in capital letters, let it go. And I can see it. And it's like the third eye, right? So for those of us who meditate and have our chakras open, like, it's the same space, but it looks like a blank screen. And I just see those words and I stare at those words until I start to calm down or shift or cry or breathe, whatever it is that's going on in that moment. And I think Julieta said it earlier, right? Like, everything passes. Whatever you're experiencing that moment will pass. It's just, we forget. And so when I'm having a really, really, really tough day or moment, that just pops up. And it's almost automatic now because I've been doing it for so long. And it's part of, I meditate every day too. So that little screen comes up pretty often. But if that doesn't happen for you, you can write it down on a piece of paper, right? You can type it on your email and take a break from responding to your boss and just say, let it go, and allow yourself to have that release, right? Drop the shoulders, relax, like, let it go, whatever it is, because it will pass. Or sometimes we need a break and then get back to it in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour. But this is something I've been doing for a long time. I've never really shared this with anyone either, so it's kind of exciting. Yeah, it's helpful.
I love the visualization of it too, of let it go. That's great. And I know for me, like, if I'm having that moment or that whatever time something happens, one of the best things I can do is to get myself out of that situation. Just like you said, just get up and take a step outside. I'll go walk out back, or I'll go check the mailbox, or I'll just to change what's happening in the scenery that I'm around helps me to reframe things and get in a better place. So
yeah. Awesome. Sometimes it's bright red letters too, which is interesting. But so it like changes colors and fonts.
That's cool.
Bolds. It's interesting. So, like, again, like, I've been doing it for so long, but yeah, I guess depending on how strong the thing is or not.
All right. Well, our last question for you before we wrap things up, and this could be something good or bad, or maybe both, but what is one life experience that has happened that has really made you who you are today, or put you on the path where you're at today?
Yes. So this is an easier question for me. I lost my father when I was young, to suicide. And it was very confusing and heartbreaking and dark and difficult. And I didn't have all the tools for communicating that I have now then. And even just communicating with myself, right? And, death is already a hard thing, right? Losing people is never easy. And so losing someone that chose to leave, wanted to leave, it hurt. It hurt a lot. It still hurts. It doesn't magically go away. And I've since then learned so many lessons so many lessons, and one of the biggest ones is that I get to choose. I get to choose in every moment. Do I want to be happy? Do I want to be pissed off? Do I want to ease up off this topic, or do I want to keep making this person miserable? Like, I get to choose. And maybe it's another reason, right? I like to show people and teach people that we have choice. Like, we just don't realize it. And so that has shaped a lot of who I am, who I became, how much I love my family and make them the center of my lives. And maybe I don't say the words I love you every day to people that I love, but they know it, right? Like I sense, in some way, I show them that love that I couldn't really express to my dad, and I didn't know I didn't had a time limit, right? So yeah, that has shaped me into this person that wants to keep giving love. Oh.
I feel you, girl. And I love you've brought this up numerous times that we have choice. We always have choice. And you know, people like to get stuck in victim mode and think that, everything's happening to them, and when, and they think that they don't have any choice, and we do. We do. We just have to accept it and take it and make the choice. And it also goes back to you know bad things happen, and we think that it's horrible, it's ruined us, and it may be the thing that gives us the greatest opportunity in our life. And how you choose to look at things shapes who you are. So
100%. I love that you said that. I love that you said that, Julietta. It's so true. And not to say that the bad things are, there's always sunshine at the end of bad things. That's not what we're saying, right? It's just choosing to see and take the good out of anything that happens to you is magical. It's not easy, and it's magical when it happens.
Yeah, I lost my mom not as young as you, but my mom was 65 when she passed. I never thought that I would lose my mom at that age. I was certain she would live into her 80s and that I had lots of time with her. And I love both of my parents very much, but I was always closer to my mom. And I have to say, like, I'm grateful now because her exiting this life earlier has given me such a deeper, more special relationship with my dad that I don't know that I ever would have had if she had been around here this long. So I got to have this amazing, wonderful relationship with my mom, and now I got to have this amazing, wonderful relationship with my dad. And yes, I still miss my mom, and it still hurts that she's gone. And I'd pay $1 million to have one of her hugs any day. And but I could have stayed in that space of just grief and loss and whatever, and I chose not to. And I chose to see what were the gifts of this. And yeah, it's a choice.
It is. It's a choice. And I love the word that you just used, gifts, right? There are gifts. There are gifts all the time, should we choose to see them, right? Like, it's a choice. So, oh, wow. I'm happy. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, what I find interesting that you brought up about choice, because I don't think most people don't think about it this way. It's also a choice on if you're going to continue to make somebody miserable, you said, which is an interesting way to look at it, because think about that. And I think about that a lot right now. And in the last year or two of what we've kind of all gone through as a society, you really do have a choice if you're going to continue to push something that is making somebody miserable, right? Like, you could stop whatever that, that situation is. So that's an interesting way to look at it. And I even think about that just with my spouse, with my husband, it's a choice for me if I want to keep digging and you know what I mean? Like things that aren't necessary. Like, what's the point? And thankfully I have learned that as I've gotten older, and we've been together for a very long time. We've been together over 30 years, and we've just matured and we've grown up together, and I understand that now. But back in my 30s, I would have just kept arguing with him just to like drive it home. You know what I mean? To like,
Mhm.
I hate to say it, but literally to make him mad like that. And so you're bringing that up is like very, to me, very eye opening that we don't really think of it that way so much, but you do have a choice on how you're going to react to something and how you're going to take that in and your perception of it, but you also have a choice on how you are treating other people and if you're going to continue to treat them in a loving way or an unkind way. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I love that.
We are good at pushing people's buttons when
Yeah,
we know
we
how,
are.
aren't we? All
Yeah.
humans. I'm talking about all 7 billion of us.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what? It's hard to admit that too. It's hard to admit because I think about things. I'm sure there's been times where Julietta and I've gotten in a disagreement about something that I probably could have let it go. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like and it's sometimes you do those things without even the realization that you're doing it until you step back and you look at it and realize what you've said or done or
come into that moment of awareness.
Yeah,
Look at this.
exactly.
That's what I said. It all starts with awareness.
Yeah.
It sounds so silly, and we just weren't taught that as children, right?
No,
So like
yeah.
imagine all the children we can teach that to now. Like what are they gonna be like? So
yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so to wrap everything up, what is one thing you would love for our audience to remember from our time together with you?
Ooh, yummy. There's so many things in here. Like, I get so excited about this. I think it's that we have the choice to take those moments. Like taking a moment is so vital, not just for us, for the people around us too, but for us and our needs and that one moment, that one breath, the meditation, the walk outside, the stretch from your desk, the washing your hands, whatever it is, and like doing it mindfully, right? And what we mean by mindfulness is paying attention to what's actually happening now and without the judgment. Like, oh, if this nail lady didn't do my nails so bad, they wouldn't be chipping, right? Like, no, like that's not like being mindful and saying, oh, okay, the nails look nice, they could look nicer, and I'm grateful that I get to wash my hands and have pretty nails, right? Like there's that choice again, and there's the having those little moments of awareness can change everything. And I would love for people to just walk away with that, and then remembering that they have that choice, because I didn't know that especially young. I was a very emotional. I still am very emotional, but at least now I'm aware that I'm emotional. When I was younger, I would go from hot to cold and throw things, all that. And so I didn't realize that I could verbally express what was happening because I wasn't taught. But now that awareness helps me. So awareness.
Awesome.
Oh, this was a yummy show, and I'm taking your word, Nathalie.
I love it. Yummy.
It is
I
my
know.
favorite word.
I'm thinking I'm loving that. We have to start that. I love that. Yummy.
Amy, look what happened to both of your faces. Like you literally just went, like it's just childhood. It's fun. Like you feel it. Like, I feel it. You guys felt it. It's yes. Take it. Use it. Spread it. Spread some yumminess.
Yumminess.
The
Love
yumminess.
it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us today, Nathalie. It's
It's
been
a
such
pleasure.
a pleasure to have you on the show and to see you again. I love you.
Yeah, I miss you. Nice to see you too. We'll catch up outside of here as well. And Allison, it was a pleasure to meet you.
It
Guys,
was really
thank
nice
you,
to meet you.
Thank you for having me. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Big yummy hugs virtually to everyone.
Yes. And a special thank you to our sponsor, Lyrios Massage and Beyond. We appreciate you so much for sponsoring us this month of February, our love month. And always, always thank you to our listeners. We couldn't be here without you. And if you've liked what you've heard, please follow, subscribe, share, like, all of that good stuff. And we'd love some written reviews from people out there. We hear a lot of verbal reviews from people, but we'd love some written reviews out there in the podcast world. And if you'd like to get in touch with Nathalie, Allison, or myself, check out the show notes. All of our how to get in touch with us, our social media, all that good stuff is available in the show notes. So check it out there. And with that, I want to wish everybody a magical day.